Okay, I've got a question in there. There's a question there. You know, I'll let you read it.
Okay.
It's directed to you anyway.
Yep. Rick said he thinks it could be a high-energy weapon and explosives in the building all at once, both because we do have firemen and video-controlled demolition flashes and explosives. Yeah. Well, we've been through all that. This person, whoever's typed this, doesn't seem to have been listening. We already did all of that. The boom, boom, boom of explosions was almost certainly exploding tanks. It wasn't controlled demolition because it's not supported, but and the oxygen tanks, which were on the fire trucks. We don't know if any oxygen tanks exploded while they were on the guys back in the towers. That may well have happened. It might have killed them, in which way we don't have. It wasn't both. There was no need to have explosives in the towers because all of the destruction was done with the system. You know, this is the kitchen sink approach. If there was explosions, you would have had, if there were bombs going off of sufficient size, you would have seen that as seismic effects. We didn't see that. The building wasn't cut into chunks. You know, we say this. If it sounds like there's frustration in my voice, it's because there is. However many times you say this, people have been brainwashed by the 9/11 truth movement.
And Stephen Jones.
And Stephen E. Jones. And put into this talk of bombs. I'm sorry if it sounds that I'm being, shirty with people, but we've been talking about this, right, for 7 years. 7 years. Yeah, but we talked about the angle cut core columns. That was oxyacetylene torches on the ground. We don't have any angle cut core columns from high up in the towers because all of those columns were turned to dust. You can actually see that in the videos. I know you're not saying she's wrong. I know you're not saying Judy Wood is. Yeah, you can say both if you want, but it's not supported by the evidence. He's typing in the chat window. So
there was a degree of rubble left behind, and then that had to be removed, didn't it?
We've already covered that. We've already covered that.
The angle, what people say is the thermite cutting is them removing the rubble away. So they have to go in, cut it out, and then the steel beams that the steel beams that did get shipped out is the remainder, the little tiny piece that was left behind.
Right. Now
not the actual destruction of the towers.
Right, if I just may emphasise that, we said earlier on that approximately 80% of the buildings were turned to dust, right? So that leaves us with approximately 20 stories which weren't turned to dust. So you're still going to have a substantial proportion of steel beams that you need to do something with, right? So you're still going to need to cut those up in some way, all right? And it's certainly possible, right, that they used some thermite to cut up those beams while they were on the ground after the towers were destroyed, right?
Yep. After the day.
Yeah. So you can talk about bombs and explosives. You can talk about nukes if you want. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But we all know about bombs. We all know about nukes. We've heard about them since we were at school, right? What you're seeing and what the pictures show you is a new process, one which has never been seen before. All you have to do is look at the videos and look at some of the pictures we've shown you tonight. You can see that process in action before your very eyes, right? Now, just to digress slightly, but still on this theme, since we started pointing this out, somebody called Simon Shack has started saying all, and I do mean all, the videos and photographs of the events of 9/11 are fake. Now, why would somebody like Simon Shack want to say that all, and I do mean all, the videos and photographs are fake? He says
he's the guy behind September Clues, yeah?
Correct. If it is correct that these buildings turn to dust and we have videos of them, and that's the thing that has to be covered up, what better way to say that all the videos are fake and we had actors making up, all the accounts of witnesses? This is what Simon Shack said, and other people have said the same thing and followed him. Now, this has become a huge problem. I actually had a friend who believed this, and Simon Shack claims, for example, that Judy Wood's study is unreliable because she relies on video evidence, photo evidence, for her conclusions. Well, Simon Shack appears to have forgotten some of the things we haven't yet covered. For example, one thing we have covered is the seismic evidence. That's not images or video. The other thing is weather reports, which we haven't even got to yet. That's in Dr. Judy Wood.
She was looking at she was looking at the smoke coming up, wasn't she? Not the smoke, because smoke implies fire. She was looking at fumes coming up, and she took looked at the satellite photos, and on the satellite photos she saw the weather effects of that day.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you've studied this so well, Matthew, and it's actually fairly straightforward stuff. I'll see if we can find that picture of the fuming. It might not be on this.
I've got dog barking in my area. I everyone can hear my dog barking. I'm trying to walk away from it, but I want to be near my computer, so I'm walking back and forth.
The canines, they do, and the cats. I've got a cat on my knee, but he's very sleepy. He's 19 years old, so he's very sleepy. Right, let's go to this picture, because you've skillfully brought us to this subject. Okay, so that image, if people want to click on that, is one of the images that Dr. Judy Wood was investigating, because she was interested in trying to find out a bit more about this fuming, because we don't want to say the towers were smoking, because that implies fire. Yes, there was some fire. We saw some fire. We're not saying there was no fire, and we're not saying there were no explosive sounds. I don't think there were any bombs, but I do think there were explosive sounds. I know there were, because we can hear them on some videos, and we've got multiple witness reports of them. So it's commonly put around the internet that Judy Wood denies explosions, and she denies this and she denies that. All you have to do is look at what's in the contents page of her book. Again, anybody who wants a scan of that, it's on my website. I've recently had to reiterate this again to people, because it's been claimed again by Richard Gage and Dane Wigginton that she doesn't cover this evidence. She does. It's on the website. It's all in her book. So it's yet another lie by members of the 9/11 Truth Movement. But yes, going back to the...
an explosion that burned paper, and there's no paper burnt. Paper don't burn in this world of World Trade Center world.
That's right. The World Trade Center explosives don't burn the paper. So what's going on? Molten metal, again, is another claim. Oh, Judy Wood denies molten metal. Not true. Not true. What is denied is that it was significantly hot. That is what is denied, right? We don't we don't say that the firemen that reported molten metal were lying. What we do suggest is that metal was not hot, because this is another process that we're looking at, part of which is dustification, and there are other strange effects which, again, we might get onto.
Well, the effects lingered, didn't they? The dustification happened, but the effects continued to carry on, because they claimed that the rescue workers are walking across the hot rubble and melting the steel toe caps, because they keep having to bring these boots in because these boots keep getting melted, and so they keep having to replace the boots for the workers. But yet you don't hear cases of burnt feet. It's just like
correct.
Yeah, they were claiming something else. It is no heat.
Something else. It's something else. You're absolutely right, Matthew, because the workers were claiming that the boots were melting. We've got that famous video clip, and Dr. Wood plays this in one of her presentations. So again, she doesn't deny it. She played that in her Madison 2007 presentation. Again, if people want to find that, I can give them links if they can't find it themselves. I've got links on my website. And if you've got something that's hot enough to melt rubber boots, and you're standing on it for any length of time, minutes, you're going to get burnt feet. Yeah, you're going to get burnt feet. No reports of any burnt feet. Something else is going on here. Something else is going on. We're looking at a different type of process which is affecting these things. I want to go back to the image of the fumes coming up, because that image that says browse at the end, the one I just pasted. Let's see, I think you've maybe reposted it, haven't you? Yeah, we haven't talked about the hijackers and the planes. We might have time to get to that, but we can talk about that another time. I've got a whole page about this that people can look at if they want, which mentions some of that as well. So we've got this
Trade Center today.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So we've got this picture with the sort of white fume cloud going up. So what's that? This is what Dr. Wood was investigating. Why we've got this sort of faint, darker cloud, which is kind of drifting slightly to the, let's get my compass right, to the northwest, and then you've got this white cloud which is actually going southwest, and then there's got like a dog leg in it. She was interested in that. So if you go down that WTC page a little bit further...
There's two different types of fumes coming off. This is not just one type. There's not just white. If you look really, if you zoom in on that image, you can see the darker fumes coming out.
That's right. That's right.
That's right, yeah.
It's a little bit indistinct, but it is there. You can actually see it fairly clearly. You know, if you study it. I've done it again, haven't I? I keep closing the wrong thing. Oh, no, I haven't. It's there. Not been such a dipstick this time. And that's what she found. She was looking for these images, and that's what Dr. Judy Wood found. That wasn't, she didn't find that until about February 2008. February 2008 when she made that discovery. Why was nobody talking about this, everybody? And this image, if you zoom in on it, you will see that you've got Long Island, right? You've got the hurricane, obviously. This was taken on 9/11.
Have you posted an image in? Oh, okay.
Yep. It's in there. It's in the chat window.
Wow. Oh, wow.
That's the one. Yeah.
And then if you look over to the left of the image on the coastline, obviously, you've got like that sort of, I don't know what to call it. It looks like a sort of finger or a finger coming out, big sort of finger sort of pointing. And that's actually Long Island. And then you've got that hook.
Well, I've actually I've got an image actually where it highlights where it is. Let me paste that in.
Yeah. Okay, if you've got that, great. Yeah, stick that in. And you've got Long Island, and then you've got just at the sort of western end of Long Island, you've got you can see the plume from the World Trade Center. This was on 9/11. This is another thing that Richard Gage won't talk about, or David Ray Griffin, or Webster Tarpley, or in fact, hardly anybody will talk about this evidence.
Well, the Hurricane Erin.
Hurricane Erin.
Well, Hurricane Erin's, the implications of Hurricane Erin are huge. It's huge. Not just...
It's huge.
It's huge. It means complete mass manipulation of media because there was no coverage. It means weather manipulation because there was no coverage, so there was no fear of it doing anything other than they wanted it to do. It's unbelievable implications of the Hurricane Erin. And
what I want to highlight to people is we have, Dr. Judy Wood went on to the Power Hour. That's Joyce Riley's program a couple of years ago, and we've got a recording of this. And she pointed out the hurricane stuff, and a caller came in and accused her of lying, said that this hurricane didn't exist because Hurricane Erin was a 2004 hurricane, and it went nowhere near New York. And Joyce Riley let this hang for about 30, 40 minutes on her program before she actually corrected herself. And it's easy to find out that the name Hurricane Erin was not retired. It was not retired. And what I want to show people, which is to me one of the most important pieces of 9/11 evidence there is, because it begins to join things up a little bit with other fields of research, is that image right there. That's the track of Erin. I'd like people to take a good look at that. And again, go and find other versions of it. There are 3 or 4 different versions from different weather centres. I know that the Canadian Hurricane Data Centre has a copy of this, which looks.
These are all official images, aren't they? These aren't from any. These are all from all the weather proper. You can still get them today if you go to proper.
Yeah. You just need to go to the right archive. Some of them have moved around since these images were first posted in 2008. But they're mainly still there. You just need to look for them.